So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. It is first thing in the morning. Well, now it's about 8 a.m. I came out here about 7 or a little after. I got 3 trees down, 3 stumps out, got the brush piled up, and got the firewood poles put over there. But it is Labor Day, and I wanted to come out here kind of early before it gets too hot. I think it's going to get into the 90s today and tomorrow. And then after that, I think it cools down quite a bit. We'll see. So we have a bunch of things planned for today, starting around lunchtime. So before that happens, I'm going to take the excavator back and get the split fire log splitter. I'll bring it back out. It works great for, you know, downsizing these big rounds. Like these oaks right here, they're probably only 22, 23 inches in diameter, but that stuff's heavy. And even though I have a log lift on the log splitters, it's just so much easier on the back to kind of downsize them. And then you can go through them pretty quick after that. So we'll take care of that. We may even cut a little bit more firewood. Probably take a saw log. Matter of fact, I might as well take that one with me with the excavator when I go back. That's what I'll do. Yeah. But I could work out here for a long, long time. Melissa wants to make this a bigger area than what it is. But it's kind of nice. It's pretty peaceful out here. And it's productive when you come out here because you're clearing some land, which is what we want to do. We're getting some saw logs, and we're getting a bunch of firewood. So it's kind of a win-win-win, maybe even another win in there. I don't know, but kind of like it. All right, we got the split fire 4209 on the excavator. We're going to hook up the hoses now. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. This machine does not have pressure release couplers like the skid loader does. So we'll try to get them on. If it doesn't go on right away, we've got something for that. No sense even fighting it. Get it lined up. Yeah, it's tight. That's a ticket right there. X-Boom QC Mate. All it is an Irwin quick grip, but it's got these special ends on it right here that fit around your fittings. You can get different size ones, you know, depending on if it's for your tractor or, you know, a bigger piece of equipment. But if I can find a link for one of these, I'll put it in the description. It works really well. Like I said, the skid loader has pressure release couplers on it, which, you know, you can kind of shove it in and it'll balance the pressure out and they go right on. This can be a bit challenging, especially for something like this, because it sits for a while. I may have taken this off when it was like 40 degrees out, and right now it's probably close to 80, and these lines build pressure, and sometimes they're hard to get on, but yeah, this works really well.
Of me, people fight for survival. I'm chasing tails, I'm surrounded, can't stop for a second to breathe. My thoughts are flowing like water. One day soon I will find, I know I am close, I know I will shine. Back to the jungle. Take me back to the jungle. Hey. Take me back to the jungle. The city keeps me distracted, but I know where I should be. I'm leaving. Just take your mask off and join me. I know you're dying to see all the secrets I'm hiding. One day soon I will find, I know I am close, I know I will shine. One day soon I will fly. Take me back to the jungle. Take me back to the jungle. Hey. Take me back.
All right, I am blowing through this in no time. What I need to do is just cut and get a whole pile of these rounds out here, because you can downsize them really fast with this. I learned something running this that makes it a lot easier. I'll try to explain it. It's not real complicated, but let's see. When you have them kind of staged out like this, I think it's best, say you want to quarter these pieces, right? Leave them in place, split it in half, right? And then grab one of those halves, just put a little bit of pressure on it, swing it over here, and split it again. And it works best to kind of have it sitting on something when you're splitting it, so it splits all the way through. If you're holding it up in the air and you split it, sometimes it'll fall out when it's only split maybe 30 or 40% of the way through and it's still connected. So yeah, that works out good. Split them in half right there, flatten them out, pick each piece up, spin it over to your pile, split it the rest of the way. But if you could, I mean, you could have hundreds of these rounds out here, hundreds of them, and you would go through them in a couple hours and, you know, get them down to a manageable size. Even like this right here, this is still probably 35 pounds, you know, each one, but it's manageable. You can lift that. Oh boy, this is awkward. I forgot something that's a little bit more important than splitting wood. Let me show you. Hey, Hunter. You want to go to sheets? Hunter, poor little guy, he walked all the way out here in the woods because it's time for the sheets run, and I forgot. All right, you want to go to sheets? All right, hold on. Hop in. We'll ride back in this. I don't think your door's shut tight. All right, so I just got back from sheets. What do you think of Hunter walking out here, Melissa?
When you called me, I didn't even know he had left. So,
boy,
sorry about that. Dropping the ball on that one. But hey, I guess he saw it as, you know what? It's Labor Day, but it's also stick to the schedule.
Stick to the schedule. So Melissa rode out with me. She's going to take the SideKick back in with her. I'm almost done. I was blowing through those big oak there in maple like nothing.
Yeah.
I got a big pile on the other side. Let's take a look at that.
Okay.
But I was just telling them, you kind of, it's a very simple splitter,
yeah,
but you quickly find ways that make it so much easier to do.
I bet.
And it takes some practice, it does, because you got to get everything kind of lined up right. But it works really good. I'd love to just have this whole area filled with rounds and come out here for like 2 days straight busting them down with that thing. I love it. Yeah. You sit in there, listen to a podcast on the radio, you know, on your headphones. And
Mike, you're making me jealous.
Why is that?
I thought you were out here sweating bullets, and you're like,
no.
I've got a podcast. I had to put a sweater on because it's a little too cool in the cab.
I got to tell a story about that. So believe it or not, I can be sarcastic at times. And you said that about, you know, sitting in the air-conditioned cab. As most of you know, I was a blaster for years. I blew stuff up for a living. But I was on a job not far from home, and I would drill as well. And I was running this little Atlas Copco drill, and those things, I mean, I think to drill one hole, there's probably, I counted one time, 27 or 30 different things you had to do. I mean, this had a rod changer on it, and you're drilling holes, turning the compressor on and off, turning the hammer, rotation, when you're breaking the couplers. I mean, you really had to pay attention to what you were doing in the cab, and it took a very, very long time to learn how to run that drill. Some people would never, ever be able to run one. I mean, there's a lot to it. Most difficult machine ever to run that I have ever ran. But anyway, I'm on this job, and I'm running this little drill, and it was just me, and then I would call our powder supplier, and they would deliver the explosives and would load the shot, just me and one other guy. So he may even see this video, or someone that knows him is going to see this video. It's hilarious. There's this guy named, they called him Pee-wee, and you know, he's a little guy, Pee-wee, and he was a few years older than me. Well, he's a great guy, super hard worker and everything, and he'd get a little grumpy at times, right? So it was this day, it's like in the 90s, like today, but hotter. And when you're out on those jobs, there's not a tree in sight, there's no shade. So I'm in the drill, I'm drilling holes, something breaks on the drill. I can't even remember what it is. I couldn't fix it, needed a mechanic. So the mechanic, he comes out, we're working on the drill, and I call Pee-wee, and I say, hey, I'm gonna be a couple hours late because the drill's broke down. We'll get it running here in a little bit. And I said, if you wanna just head this way in a little bit, you could start loading holes. He was a blaster as well. You can start loading holes, and then, you know, when I'm done, we'll work together. He says, okay. So we get the drill running, Pee-wee shows up, and he's loading holes. And I mean, he's just drenched in sweat. And I'm sitting in the cab of the machine in the air conditioning, and that worked fantastic in that drill. And I could tell he's getting a little bit mad, you know, and I'm finishing up, and I'm blowing the horn on the drill. And he comes over and he opens the door. He's like, what do you want? You know? And I said, hey, do you have a blanket or something in your truck? I said, I can't get this AC turned down and I'm freezing in here. He just like slammed the door. He was all ticked. But yeah, those were...
You're lucky you didn't throw something through the window.
Those drills were something else, though. I mean, and you could do so much damage so quickly. You know what I mean? Tearing something up. Oh, they were... you definitely had to pay attention running one of those things. You did. But I think I'm going to finish splitting these up. And
Okay.
then, like I said, you can take the SideKick back. I'll take the Excavator back.
Okay.
And we'll
Go from
move
there.
forward with our Labor Day
All right.
plans. All right, so we got those split up pretty quick there.
Looks good.
I'm going to repeat myself here. A lot of people say I do, but I think it's important. If you're using one of these, my opinion, what works best for me, if you want to quarter it, say, leave it on the ground, split it in half, right there. When it folds open, grab one half, swing it over to your pile. You know, you don't put too much pressure on it. And then just touch your pile, split it the rest of the way, come back, grab the other one, and do the same thing. That seems to work best for me. Now, a lot of people like a splitter like this on a skid steer. They work great. I've seen people do it. I prefer it being on the Excavator. Way better, in my opinion, but like I said, everyone likes things a little bit differently. With a skid loader, you've got that thing out in the front, you're turning the whole machine,
Right.
and you know, if it's...
Yeah, this does make sense to me as well. I think I would want it on the Excavator. You've got that swing capability to have your pile here and your rounds here.
Yeah, what...
Whereas the skid steer, you're going to be turning, which I have to say, I think the skid steer is your favorite.
I don't know.
Just in general. It's the perfect
Yeah, I don't know which
for
is.
most. You're good at it, and in tight spaces, you know where you turn. But if your pile is here, you're grabbing from, you still have to turn it around to split too, right?
Yeah,
So-
and say it's a little bit wet out here, and you're using that skid loader.
Yeah.
You're just tearing everything up. You're spinning and turning,
mud.
making mud, getting your wood dirty. With this, you can just
I'm
kind of...
just in a bad mood thinking about it, Mike.
I know.
Well, how would that look then? So you wouldn't have your boom.
No.
It would just attach to where.
On a skid loader, they mount them this way. So you're sitting in the cab, and it's sticking straight out. Which I never ran one, but that's another thing. I don't see how you can see your wedges well
Right.
sitting in a skid loader. versus sitting in the excavator. My opinion, I like it much better on an excavator.
Right.
However, if you don't have an excavator and you have a skid loader, let me know in the comments.
Do you like that it can go from either direction?
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
I
yeah.
I was just watching him getting confused. So I could only imagine.
Now, and also what's nice, something else worth a mention. I keep talking, but I keep thinking of things.
Yeah.
When you line up your log, you don't want to line it up on the wedge that moves. You want to line it up on one of the stops on
Oh,
one
really?
side or the other,
Okay.
and then bring the wedge to it. If you line it up on the wedge and you start pushing the log,
Yeah.
it can turn a little bit.
That's interesting.
So line it up on the stops on both sides,
and that's what the control is that you're controlling that.
just the wedge.
The
Yep.
wedge.
Everything else, and it's a button on the joystick in there.
All right, I think I'm ready.
We're all out of rounds,
darn,
Melissa.
okay, maybe next
Dang
time.
it.
All right.
Hey, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah, it's a hot one. It's Labor Day, so we are laboring, and we're thankful that we can work, and we're thankful that you're here, and we'll see you on the next one.